Good morning. It's day 2 of my holiday. I spent all day yesterday driving across upstate New York for hours and hours and hours. Didn't get any knitting done because I got here, I'm in Vermont now, about 7:30 last night. Poked around the town just a tiny little bit, went to bed. So now it's 7 a.m. I'm on my way again, and yeah, there will be knitting in the next few days, so there will be more to come. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi, folks. I'm just stopping for tea on my drive, and I wanted to talk a little bit about my trip so far. I think interior New England has kind of stolen my heart. The drive has been beautiful. The rocks, the mountains, the trees. I love it. This is the type of countryside I love driving through. However, it has been pouring, like little bits of rain, and then rain so bad you can't see the car in front of you and nobody has their lights on, and it's just, yeah, pretty scary. And big windy highways, people are going way faster than they should. So it's been a little bit of a nutty ride, but that's okay. I've survived. Luckily, I like to drive, so this works out well. Few things I've noticed. People in New York tend to go closer to the speed limit. People in Vermont, they drive like Canadians, and they drive like bats out of hell. Like, it's just insane. I'm doing like 55 or 60 through this crazy, like, mountain valley interstate, and people are whipping by me, and I'm like, wow, I'm gonna die. So that's been pretty crazy. I will say, one thing I have noticed between Americans and Canadians, although we have the same rule, which is you should stay in the right lane unless you're passing, people in America actually do that. Canadians do not. Canadians are like, oh, I'm doing 5 kilometers over the speed limit, I should be able to sit in the left lane, and they just kind of sit there and tootle along, and everyone else kind of like freaks out around them. So at least here, people are really good about staying in the right lane until they pass, and then as soon as they've passed, they move back over. It's lovely to see. So I really appreciate that about my drive, so thank you, Americans. All right, I have an apple fritter and a cup of tea, so I'm ready to roll again. I'll talk to you soon. Next, I'm in New Hampshire right now. Soon I'll be in Maine. Got a nice long drive through Maine, and then I'll be in New Brunswick. And this evening, I get to spend time with another knitter. Happy, happy girl. everyone, it's Adrienne again. I'm in New Brunswick and I'm visiting this girl. This is my friend Jelena. She's been a viewer since the very beginning and I met her last year when I did a quick drive-by through the province, and she had me over for tea and knitting, which was lovely. And so I came out to visit her for a few days this year on my travels out east. And since we're knitters, we decided to talk about some knitting.
Yeah.
Before we get started, we should say hello to Dave.
Dave.
Come say hi, Dave. We give shout outs to Dave on a fairly regular basis, so now Dave's going to give a shout out to everyone else.
Hi.
That's Dave.
Here we are in the very well lit studio.
He was helping with lights.
That's right. And may I say we're in Fredericton for anyone
There you go.
who does know New Brunswick geography and doesn't think we're all just one
Big place.
landmass. Yeah. So anyway, hi.
Awesome.
Enjoy the show.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave. That's awesome.
So that's my husband.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just some random Dave. He's
Just random Dave.
important Dave.
Yes.
So yeah, so we've been visiting and knitting and doing fun stuff like that. It's been so nice. I got here and our first night, she was just like, tea and knitting? And I'm like, oh yes, please. Because I've been driving and barely knitting during the drive. So this was a lovely way to catch up. So, I don't have any finishes. Do you have any finishes?
No, not
No.
quite. Close.
Close. She's close to a finish.
Yeah.
I am not close to a finish. So, let's talk about works in progress.
Okay.
Let's see. What you got?
Okay, so I'm working on this, which is Pop Beads by somebody Miller, a Southern designer, and this is usually done in a couple of solids, and then you'll have one contrasting pop, but I've been using a variegated and another solid and a creamy kind of color, because I've been working on this 12-week knitting challenge because
Oh,
I
yeah.
completely overspent in early
She's a knitter
April.
after my own heart.
Yes. I bought 8.9 kilometers worth of yarn and then got home and said, oh, wow, maybe I should do something with this. So I've been working on knitting a third of it by the time Adrienne got here.
So, yeah.
And so I had 12 weeks to do that, and I managed to, by weight, hit my target by midnight Friday night, so just after Adrienne got here. So that was very exciting.
Yeah, I was so proud.
Yes.
But that's close to, what, almost 3 kilometers worth of yarn that you knit?
Yeah,
Yeah,
something
it's
like that.
pretty ridiculous.
It was
Pretty
good.
ridiculous.
Well, and I had decided that only the new acquisition, like so the new yarn was the only thing that counted in my challenge, but I wisely used a fair bit of stash as well, so I knit way over 3 kilometers of
Wow, that's
yarn.
insane. I might knit 3 kilometers in a year. That's funny. Okay, so what can you tell us more about this project?
Okay.
What are the yarns you're using?
So the yarns that I'm
Get nice and
using,
close.
yep, oh yeah. See?
There you go.
So you can see this variegated one, so it's sort of this gold and turquoise and things, greens. This is actually the Fleece Artist Fundy colorways, or the National Park stuff that came out last year.
Yeah, the 150 collection, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the Fundy colorway, and then that is from Stash. The dark gray and the sort of creamy gray, those were both from the new stuff.
The new acquisition, yeah.
Yeah. So they
Nice.
both very generous sort of single ply skeins, and so the Fundy's the exact same weight, the same yarn. It's just
Nice.
dyed differently. So they're working really well together and
Nice.
behaving well together. But because I used so much of the variegated yarn, I wasn't making much progress on my challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the other thing I can tell you is that normally, like I was saying, you've got, 2 colors and then a pop and then another one that changes. And they don't usually do any kind of gradient. But you can see I've sort of done a bit of a gradient thing here. And then there's my pop. So I made it a little bigger, and I'm calling this my New Brunswick shawl.
Nice.
And it's sort of meant to look like, the Bay of Fundy and New Brunswick. New Brunswick has lots of highways that run through it and lots of beautiful color.
I know, it's
So
been
it's
great.
all part of the shawl. So that's what I'm working on.
Awesome.
Yes. Thank you.
No problem. Hold that thought for a second, guys. This is to make Louise proud. Juliana actually swatched her shawl so that she could get like the colors and stuff right so that she would be totally happy with it. So Louise would love you for that.
But I didn't measure for gauge, so.
That's okay. I didn't call it a gauge swatch, did I?
No, it's a color swatch.
It's just a swatch.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. What size
Thanks.
needles are you using?
Good question.
That's the hard ones, I know.
Probably 3.75, maybe a
3.75?
4. Yeah,
Awesome.
millimeters.
Cool.
Yeah.
And you're a monogamous knitter, aren't you?
Yes, very.
I don't know how she does it. So.
I used to be very non-monogamous. I was a very social knitter and really got around and tried everything. And now I'm much more, I've been monogamous probably for about 18 months. And it's meant a huge amount of output, so.
Yeah. She finishes stuff on a regular basis. And like
Yeah.
big projects. Me, not so much.
Well,
much
it sounds, well, you get stuff done.
Yeah. I get lots of little stuff done. Then every once in a while I'll have some rapid fire big ones done, but that's only like once or twice a year as opposed to you seem to be quite regular about it.
Yeah, so, not to sound like whatever, but in 2017 I did 17 shawls, so, and this year I don't know, I've done 5 maybe, 5 or 6, and a
Wow.
sweater and a bunch of little stuff.
Oh
So,
my goodness.
yeah.
I finished 0 shawls this year. I finished 0 sweaters. I finished a handful of socks and a bunch of dishcloths. That's my claim to fame this year.
But it's all good.
That's true. It's all knitting, so we're all good.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's very weird to be watching myself, so
Yeah.
I'm trying not to watch myself.
You're doing a good job. You're
Thanks.
acting pretty natural, so we're all good.
That's good.
So, surprise, surprise, I have been working on
Dun dun dun!
the Death Project. Sorry, Louise.
Happy baby blanket.
The Happy Baby Blanket, yeah. So it's coming along. It looks exactly like it did before. It's just larger. So I am making progress. Where's my... I do have a stitch marker on here. So since I arrived here, I've managed to do that much, which is actually a fair bit considering I do big rounds. See?
So if that's, so let's say that's 1.5 inches
Yeah.
or so, and you've got over 100 stitches on each side.
Yeah.
Right?
We guesstimated about
So
140 stitches per side the other day.
40, so you've got 560 stitches, or you've done whatever that is, 6 inches if you're
Yeah.
just knitting it straight. So that's
Yeah.
that's pretty awesome.
I've been knitting a lot. And yet, I still have this much. It is getting a little smooshier. There's a nice big hole in the center, which, look, I can see through it. That's exciting. So at least I'm making progress on that, but there still seems to be an awful lot left to knit.
Which is much more encouraging than when you start pulling from the ball and it grows.
Yeah.
Instead of shrinking, and there's no hole. So
Yeah. And then eventually, once I get all this done, I will add in, this is my didgeridoo from Old Oak Yarns, which would be me. And so that'll be the brown border that I do on it. So I think that's gonna look great when I get there, which feels like never.
you'll get there.
Oh, I hope so. Someone please get me there. So yeah, so I'm headed to Nova Scotia for a few days by myself by the ocean. So hopefully I will get a ton of knitting done there. I have knit on something else because I'm not monogamous. So we went out the other night, last night, downtown Fredericton and went to a movie in the square under the stars. And so I worked on,
And to a concert.
that's true, Hillsburn. They were
Hillsburn,
awesome. I
yeah.
really like them. Little Halifax band. And so I've been working on this sock. So I put in, I think I was just into the blue here. So I managed to get about that much done. This is, I can't remember the colorway name, but this is from Sweden, I believe. This is Asphalt Flicken Designs. I really like them because they do a lot of this gradient in their colorway stripes, which I think is really neat and fun. So yeah. And it's in my goat bag. I love my goat bag. Look, they're goats falling off mountains. There's just something about goats. Yeah, so that's all I've been working on. Doing all right?
And your sock.
Yeah. You know how it is. And we actually went day tripping all day today, so you'll see videos of that as well.
And sunburned.
Yeah, a little bit red, but it's all good. Good, clean Canadian sunshine.
Well, we went to Fundy.
That's right, we did. We went to the Bay of Fundy. I had not spent much time near the Bay of Fundy, so it was really cool to do some exploring and stuff like that. She did take me to a yarn store.
Yes, she stuck her head in the mouth of a lion.
That's right. I'll put in the picture here. So she took me to a little yarn store here in Fredericton, and I walked in and I touched stuff, and there was one point I was in the store, I had like 3 skeins of Mad Tosh Pashmina in my hands, and you just saw me going like this, like, oh, it's squishy, and I couldn't put them down. It took me about 5 minutes to slowly put them each down.
And I was saying, imagine Caroline going through your stash. And then I had a moment where I thought, I'm going to have to tell her I wasn't conspiring with Caroline before all of this started, which I absolutely was not.
Yeah, so I was a good girl, and I put all the stash down and backed out of the store. So
Yeah. And that was Cricket Cove
yes,
in Fredericton. So.
yeah, absolutely, it was fun. Yeah, so I have no acquisitions, but you have acquisitions.
I have acquisitions. So Adrienne had
Yeah, right near the
generously
beginning.
offered me a carrot early on. So we had talked about my 12-week knitting challenge, and I said that I wanted to knit a third of it in 12 weeks by the time she came. It just seemed like a good idea, and they were doing their sabbatical.
Yeah, we were on the yarn sabbatical as well.
And I really needed to be on a sabbatical, and still probably should stay on one. But anyway, she offered me a special prize.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because I met my target by weight, even though I was originally going by meters, she
Yeah.
agreed that I qualified.
Yeah, she totally qualified.
And so it's beautiful,
Woo.
beautiful new yarns.
That's right.
So the top one is kiwi, and the bottom one is full of pride. Is it going to do it?
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's there.
Nice.
Anyway, very exciting.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm not sure what I am going to make with it, but it would be really good for something like the flyaway shawl that I made a couple months ago. That would be really good. That was a fun Vera Valimaki shawl.
Nice.
Easy, 2 colors. Shows things off. So
Awesome.
we'll see.
Yeah, you'll crank that out in no time.
Yeah, right.
Awesome. So yeah,
Thank you.
no problem. You're very welcome. Congratulations on all that knitting. You're putting me to shame, but that's okay. I can cheer you on. I have no problems with that. I'm quite happy with starting all the things. One day I will finish them.
I want to start all of the things. This is the thing. I really want to, but I know that I finish nothing if I start everything.
Yeah, I have a bad habit. I start all the things and I really don't get very far. Tell you what I'm gonna do. I've been thinking about this a little bit lately. I think I'm gonna start as of August 1st, from August 1st to the end of November, I'm gonna run a single sock along. So you don't have to knit a whole pair, you just have to knit one sock to enter it in.
So you could be knitting the second sock,
Uh-huh.
or you could be starting a brand new pair.
Absolutely.
So
So
do they have to be like knee socks or shorty socks or baby socks?
not baby socks, but shorty socks are fine, big tall socks, knee highs. I don't really care. Just has to be one adult sock.
Cool.
Because if I go through, I think I currently have about 12 pairs on the needles, and I have 3 or 4 more lined up to be added to the needles. And when I go through them, every single one of them, except for my flower and plum, is still on the first sock. So in order to keep me engaged, I need to get a lot of first socks done, because if I go back and do a second sock on this sock, I don't get to any of the other ones. So this way I will make progress on a bunch of them.
That sounds good.
And I have a fairly decent sized sock collection already, so it's not like I'm in dire need of socks. I just want to see some single socks, so that's what I'm going to do.
It's a good
And
way
you
to do
guys
it.
are more than welcome to join me. Single sock along, August 1st to November 30th. So lots of time to kind of, whenever you get a time.
Well, that would kind of work for me too, because
Yeah.
I usually have a pair of socks on the go in between. So socks are the one thing that I'll not abandon, but put on hold. So I might knit half a sock or a whole sock or a short sock, whatever.
Right.
And then start a new project. If I'm not sure what I want to work on, socks are okay. But I don't love knitting socks.
Yeah.
I really don't love knitting socks.
So between now and the end of November, you could knit like a single sock,
Do another project and then do another sock.
and then you get 2 entries. So you get an entry for each sock.
That'd be
And
good.
you'd have a pair. See, wouldn't that work? And I would just do a bunch of single socks, first socks, and then I would get to play with all the yarns.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
And you can wear odd socks, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good plan.
Yeah, so that's the plan. All right, we're gonna go knit.
Yes.
So we'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Thanks so much for coming on with me.
Thanks for having me.
No problem.
Thanks for coming to visit.
Oh, that was no problem at all. All right, guys. Happy knitting.
See ya. Happy knitting.
Bye.